The Detroit Pistons getting a 109-107 win against my Denver Nuggets. That is right. My Denver Nuggets. I mean, if you are a listener of the show, a regular listener of the show, you already know that the Denver Nuggets, that's my team. I do like the Pistons, but the Nuggets, that is my numero uno. And it was a very exciting game. But it's the Pistons coming out on top. And the Pistons came out very strong in the first quarter. It was like the Nuggets, that was like one of the worst games I've seen from them in terms of starting a game. Of course, obviously, the Nuggets, dealing with a ton of injuries right now, specifically, should be, really the undisputed MVP for this season. Will he win the MVP? No, because he's probably going to be out another week. And as a result, you have to have the minimum 65 games played in the NBA to qualify for the major end-of-season awards, all NBA teams and such. So, with missing another week, which is probably what's going to be the case, then he is going to not be eligible for the MVP award. But regardless, he is the MVP at full health. Going to be likely out for another week, which, by the way, 1 week. I saw a report saying he'll be out another week yesterday. And what is 1 week from yesterday? That is when the Pistons are actually hosting the Denver Nuggets in Detroit. So, I don't know. I got that feeling. Got that feeling that Nikola Jokic, his return game is going to be here in Detroit against the Pistons. But that's besides the case. No Nikola Jokic. No Christian Brown. No Aaron Gordon. No Cam Johnson. So that's 4 starters that the Nuggets were without. They still had Jamal Murray, second best player on the team. He's probably going to be an all-star this year. But regardless, the Nuggets came out very poor. It was just like turnover, and then it would be easy 2 points for the Pistons. I mean, the Pistons came out with so much energy, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and on the glass. The Pistons just all over the place, just performing very well. And they built up a pretty big lead. Went up by close to 20 there in the second quarter, and then the Nuggets finished the first half strong. You could kind of see different phases in this game where the mile high, little bit thinner air there at 1 mile above sea level there in Denver, starting to wear against the Pistons throughout the game. But, yeah, the Nuggets ended the first half strong. They go into halftime, right within striking distance, but the Pistons played well third quarter, fourth quarter, had another double-digit lead, but then the last couple minutes of the game, crazy. The Nuggets scratch and claw their way back, and they made a game out of it, including a couple of big shots from former Piston Tim Hardaway Jr. The Nuggets actually came within 1. But then a couple of clutch free throws from Tobias Harris made it a 3-point game with 2 seconds left. And then Jamal Murray, he attempted the 3 at the buzzer, was fouled. You could probably debate on whether it was a foul call. It seems like it was pretty weak contact. I was actually watching the Nuggets broadcast of the game, and even the Nuggets announcers. Former Piston and former NBA champion with the Piston, Scott Hastings, by the way, the color commentator on the Denver Nuggets broadcast, even he was saying like that was probably not really a foul. But regardless, Jamal Murray goes to the line, Nuggets down 3, and he's about to shoot 3 free throws. Makes the first one. It's like, okay. But then he missed the second one. And at this point, there was only 0.7 seconds left. So it's like, all right, everybody knew. It's like, okay, that was it. He needed to make all 3 free throws if they wanted to go to overtime, but he didn't. Missed the second one. So he tried to intentionally miss the third one, try to get a favorable bounce so that the Nuggets could try to do the offensive rebound, tip it in at the buzzer. And Isaiah Stewart smartly, was it Stewart or was it Duren? One of the two, but smartly swats the ball away on the rebound. They knew the situation, and time expired. And the Pistons come out on top. Strong performance from Cade Cunningham. Speaking of, again, I do think Cade Cunningham should be probably in the top 5. That maybe 5 to 6 range in terms of MVP rankings. Solid game. 9 of 17 shooting, 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 11 assists. 0 turnover. That's what I love to see. Not only the shooting efficiency, but the passing efficiency as well from Cade Cunningham. You know, you have that high assist to turnover ratio. That's what I like to see. That's what you need in your point guard, your leader, your engine. And that's exactly what Cade Cunningham does. And especially a game like this when he shoots efficiently as well. And that's all you can ask for. Great game from Cade. Efficient as ever. Jalen Duren, 14 points and 8 rebounds on 6 of 10 shooting. 22 points from Tobias Harris. Boy, he was on fire. 10 of 15 from the floor, was 0 of 2 from 3. 22 points, 8 rebounds. Asar Thompson had a couple of nice steals. 5 steals to be exact. 5-7 shooting, as I mentioned, 14.4 rebounds. And the only real off player in the Pistons starting lineup was Duncan Robinson. This was an example of Clunkin Robinson. 1 of 9 shooting, 0 of 8 from 3, but still chipped in 3 rebounds and 3 assists. And again, another good matchup for the Pistons, another good game for the Pistons as they keep playing that blue-collar basketball. They actually did get out-rebounded by the Nuggets, which is kind of surprising. You had a monster rebounding game from Jonas Valanciunas, 16 rebounds and 16 points he finished with for the Nuggets. But the Pistons just still dominating the points in the paint, 64-48. And you saw that early. You know, forcing those turnovers. Pistons converting 15 Nuggets turnovers into 20 points. And then, of course, dominating the points in the paint. I think early when the Pistons got out to a hot start, something like 15 or 16 of their first 20 points were in the paint, something like that. That's Pistons basketball right there. I love the inside and out, trying to get into the paint, get those easy points, get to the line, and then, of course, you have shooters if you have those drive and kick opportunities. You see other teams in the NBA that try to prioritize three-point first, but no, not the Pistons. They prioritize inside-out play, and that's what I like to see from this team. But at the end of the day, a little bit of a scare there at the end from the Nuggets. Again, minus 4 starters, including the best player in the NBA. But the Pistons able to hold on, get the 109-107 win. They win their second consecutive game after beating the Sacramento Kings on Sunday. And then off of that Friday loss against the Houston Rockets. And a pretty good schedule coming up for the Pistons. They got the Phoenix Suns on the road tomorrow, which that was a pretty close game. Too close for comfort against a pretty beat-up Phoenix Suns team earlier this month. You got the Warriors minus Jimmy Butler, who just suffered a torn ACL about a week ago. That's coming up on Friday. And then should be a pretty interesting schedule going into February as well. Got the Nets at home. You got the Nuggets at home. Again, we will see. I kind of have that feeling, based on what I've been hearing, the news and stuff. I think there's a real chance that could be the game that Nikola Jokic returns for the Denver Nuggets. So that would be a fun game if so. And, of course, that's a question as well. If Jokic returns that game, is he even going to be available for the full game? Is he going to be maybe on a minutes restriction, a minutes limit? Is he even going to start? Who knows? So, again, you got the Brooklyn Nets at home Sunday. You got the Nuggets on Tuesday at home. May or may not have Nikola Jokic playing. The awful Wizards on Thursday. And then another matchup with the Knicks coming up on Friday. But, again, I see this is another stretch for the Pistons. I see a whole lot of W's. I don't know about you. But the Pistons, they're taking care of business. They have ample opportunities in the near future to keep taking care of business and maintain their stranglehold for first place in the Eastern Conference. 34-11, still 5.5 games over the Boston Celtics, who have slightly cooled off a little bit. The Knicks just 5-5 in their last 10. They are on a 3-game winning streak. They're 6.5 games out, just like the Toronto Raptors. So Pistons still in a really good spot. Still love what I'm seeing from Pistons basketball atop the Eastern Conference. Even though, yes, they got a win over my Denver Nuggets last night.
If you missed today's installment of On the Docket, podcast it at foxsports1019.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to tune in live weekdays at noon on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.